I trusted him with the only thing my grandmother left me, and he sold it for cash. That thought slams into me like a punch in the chest as I sit frozen on the edge of the bed, the glow from the streetlight outside casting thin stripes of light across the floor. In my hand, crumpled and sweaty, is a small slip of paper, an old pawnshop receipt. The paper crackles between my fingers, the ink smeared but still legible, a diamond ring, yellow gold, engraved initials. My breath catches because I know exactly what it is. My grandmother's ring. The one she slipped on my finger before she passed, whispering, "Never let anyone take this from you." The bedroom smells faintly of his aftershave mixed with the sharp tang of beer, a reminder that he came home late again. He's snoring softly beside me, sprawled out, oblivious. His jacket had been tossed carelessly across the chair, and something made me reach into the pocket, something I can't even explain. And now, staring at this receipt, I feel like the floor has given way beneath me. I glance at my left hand, and under the thin stream of moonlight, I see the faint pale circle on my finger where the ring used to rest. My stomach twists. I don't even remember taking it off. Did he slip it off while I slept? My pulse pounds so loud in my ears I'm afraid it'll wake him. I shove the receipt under my pillow as he shifts suddenly, a groan rumbling from his throat. My heart hammers, every muscle in my body tensed like a deer caught in headlights. He turns, mutters something incoherent, then settles back into that steady, drunken snore. I let out the smallest breath, careful not to stir the air too much, as though even that might wake him. The smell of stale beer drifts up from his breath, and for the first time, it disgusts me. I stare at his hand, limp and heavy on the sheets, and all I can picture is that same hand sliding the ring from mine while I dreamed, betraying me in the most intimate way possible. The receipt burns against my skin under the pillow. My thoughts spiral, why would he do this? Was it the bills? Some emergency? But deep down, I already know. The sudden new watch, the unexplained late nights, the coldness that's crept into his eyes lately. I close my eyes tight, but it doesn't stop the images from flashing, him handing over the ring to some stranger behind a glass counter, him pocketing the cash, smirking like nothing sacred ever mattered. I swallow hard, the metallic taste of fear and rage rising up the back of my throat. My mouth is dry, my palms sweaty. I want to scream, to shake him awake and demand answers, but instead I sit perfectly still, my body locked in place by a cocktail of grief and fury. The house creaks in the silence, every sound amplified, the hum of the refrigerator down the hall, the faint ticking of the clock on the dresser, the rasp of his uneven breathing. My mind latches onto the idea that if I stay still enough, maybe this is all a nightmare, maybe the ring is still safe. But when I slide my hand across the smooth, bare skin of my finger again, the truth presses cold and undeniable. The shadows stretch across the wall, and I catch sight of our framed wedding photo sitting on the dresser. The glass glimmers faintly in the pale light. We're smiling in that picture, his arm wrapped around me, my grandmother's ring sparkling proudly on my hand. I can barely recognize that version of us now. A sudden pop from outside, the muffled bang of a car door slamming, makes me jolt. My throat tightens. I press the pillow harder over the receipt, as if someone might come storming in to snatch it from me. My chest feels like it's caving in. I glance down at him again. He scratches his face in his sleep, then sighs. The smell of his cologne lingers in the fabric of the sheets, but instead of comfort, it makes me feel trapped. I whisper to myself, barely audible, "Why would you do this to me?" The words taste bitter, almost poisonous. Something in me changes as I sit there in the dark. A seed of suspicion grows into something sharper, more dangerous. The betrayal isn't just about the ring, it's about everything it stood for. Trust. Family. Promise. And if he thought I wouldn't find out, he doesn't know me at all. I slip the receipt out from under the pillow again and run my thumb over the ink. The paper is rough, smelling faintly of cigarette smoke and metal dust. The address of the pawn shop is printed clearly, like a cruel invitation. My chest tightens with the urge to go there right now, barefoot if I have to see the ring with my own eyes. But then he stirs again, rolling onto his back. His arm brushes mine, and I flinch like I've touched a live wire. I press the paper flat against my leg, my knuckles white. He murmurs something in his sleep, my name, but warped, slurred, unrecognizable. The urge to scream rises so strong it nearly bursts out of me. Instead, I stand up slowly, careful with each step on the creaking floorboards. The air feels colder away from the bed, the wood cool beneath my bare feet. My heart is a drum in my chest, each beat threatening to give me away. I step toward the dresser, toward the faint gleam of the wedding photo. My fingers brush the frame, and I notice a thin crack running across the glass I'd never seen before, splitting our smiles in two. It feels like the house itself knows what's been broken between us. Behind me, the bed shifts. My breath catches. I freeze, clutching the photo, half expecting him to sit up and confront me. The silence stretches, unbearably long. Then, just as my knees start to tremble, the snoring resumes. I nearly collapse with relief, though the anger boiling in my veins keeps me upright. I place the photo face down on the dresser, unable to look at it any longer. The sight of our smiles feels like mockery. I stand there in the quiet, staring at my pale reflection in the mirror above the dresser, eyes hollow, hair tangled, shoulders tense. And for the first time, I don't recognize myself either. The night presses heavy around me. I grip the receipt tighter until the paper crinkles loudly, and I swear the sound echoes through the whole room. He shifts again, and my body stiffens. I shove the paper back under the pillow in one frantic motion, nearly losing my balance. His eyes flutter open for a brief second, hazy and unfocused in the dim light. My lungs seize. He looks straight at me, his lips parting like he might say something. The seconds stretch into an eternity. Then his eyes roll back, and he sinks into deeper sleep, letting out a low snore. My knees nearly buckle with the flood of adrenaline. I stagger back toward the chair where his jacket still lies. The fabric is rough beneath my trembling fingers, smelling of stale cigarettes and cheap whiskey. I yank the pocket open again, half hoping I'd imagined it all. But the emptiness where the receipt had been tells me this nightmare is very, very real. I sink into the chair, the wood creaking under my weight. The silence is broken only by the rhythmic rasp of his breathing. The pale glow from the streetlight outside falls across his face, highlighting the curve of his mouth, the jaw I once kissed with love. Now all I see is a stranger who could steal something sacred from me without a second thought. I touch my bare finger again. The skin there feels colder than the rest of my hand, as if the ring's absence has left a permanent chill. My stomach twists with nausea, and yet beneath it, something sharper is rising. Not just anger. A dangerous clarity. I lean back in the chair, the wood biting into my spine, and whisper into the darkness, "You have no idea what you've started." The words hang in the air like smoke, curling, heavy, impossible to take back. And as the clock on the dresser ticks one heavy second after another, I realize I'm not just sitting in the wreckage of a betrayal. I'm sitting at the edge of something else entirely, something he will never see coming. The kitchen smells like burnt toast and bitter coffee, the kind that scalds your tongue but never fully wakes you up. I sit at the table, trying to steady my hands around the mug, pretending I didn't spend half the night listening to him snore while clutching a pawn shop receipt under my pillow. He breezes in like nothing's wrong, whistling some tuneless melody, flipping open a cabinet as though this house is still ours, as though my trust hasn't already crumbled to dust. "Morning," he says, pouring himself coffee into the chipped mug with the faded baseball logo. His favorite. He doesn't even look at me when he says it. The sound of the spoon clinking against the ceramic grates on my nerves. I can smell the sharp bitterness of the coffee mixing with the faint sweetness of the bread he's just over toasted, and for a second, the whole kitchen feels suffocating. He's too casual. Too calm. Like a man who has nothing to hide. My throat burns with the urge to shout the truth at him, to slam the receipt down on the counter, but instead, I take a sip of my coffee and let the hot liquid scald my tongue. "Sleep well?" he asks, finally glancing at me with that crooked half-smile he knows used to melt me. My stomach twists. There's no warmth in it anymore, only smugness, a shadow of something mean flickering beneath the surface. I force a nod. My voice comes out thin, brittle. Fine. He slides a plate toward me, 2 slices of toast charred almost black. I don't touch them. My eyes catch on his wrist as he sets the plate down, a gleaming silver watch, brand new, not the cheap one he's worn for years. The metal catches the morning light, glinting like a signal flare, impossible to miss. My pulse quickens. He notices my stare, and without missing a beat, he shrugs. Got it on sale, he says casually, like he's rehearsed the line. Figured I deserved a little something nice. The words clang in my head, ugly and careless. I picture my grandmother's ring sitting under fluorescent lights in some pawnshop glass case, waiting to be bought by strangers, and here he is, sitting across from me, jingling his keys, sipping coffee, pretending nothing's been lost. The memory of my grandmother's voice rises unbidden. This ring carries all the women before you. It carries me. Protect it. Her hand had been soft and frail when she slid it on my finger, her eyes glassy with tears. I remember promising her, swearing I would keep it safe. My throat closes around the memory. I press my hand into my lap, trying not to tremble. Bills are piling up, he mutters suddenly, breaking the silence, almost as if he's baiting me. He smirks when he says it, buttering his burnt toast with lazy strokes. Don't worry, though. I've got it handled. The sound of the knife scraping against the bread sets my teeth on edge. My fingers dig into the wooden table, nails leaving faint crescents. Handled. That word tastes sour. I glance out the kitchen window, and there it is, his car gleaming in the driveway, spotless even under the early morning haze. The hood shines as if it's been freshly polished, and I know he spent hours on it this weekend, caressing it like it was more precious than me. The sight makes my stomach clench. He treasures that car. He would never part with it. He takes a long sip of his coffee, leaning back in his chair, exhaling contentedly as though this is just another ordinary morning. You should smile more, he says offhandedly, not even looking at me, as if my silence is the real offense here. The words land like a slap. My jaw tightens. I want to hurl the mug across the room, watch it shatter into 1,000 pieces the way he shattered my trust. Instead, I grip it tighter, the ceramic scalding my palms. The air between us grows thick, heavy with unspoken words. I glance at him, and for the first time, I notice how sharp his smile looks now, like a blade disguised as charm. It's the same smile he used when he first met my family, when he shook my grandmother's hand and promised her I was safe with him. The memory burns. I remember that night clearly, the warm glow of the living room lamp, the smell of cinnamon from my grandmother's cookies, his laugh ringing out confidently as he told stories about his ambitions. He'd pulled me close, kissed my cheek, and she had smiled at us both, her hand resting lightly on mine where the ring glimmered. That was the night she whispered her blessing. I blink hard, pulling myself back to the present, where the only glow comes from the morning sun bouncing off his new watch. I stand abruptly, the chair legs screeching against the floor. His eyes flick up, surprised. Where are you going? My voice shakes, but I manage to keep it steady enough. Work. It's a lie, but I don't care. My heart races as I grab my bag, my hand brushing against the smooth leather strap that feels colder than usual. He studies me for a moment, chewing his toast loudly, like a dare. Then he shrugs, uninterested. Don't be late. I slip out the door, and the crisp air slaps me in the face. The scent of damp grass mixes with the faint tang of gasoline from his car. I stare at it again, the gleam of the chrome, the leather seats I know he buffs weekly, the steering wheel he polishes like it's a crown jewel. The thought claws at me, you took my ring, but I know what you love most. The engine of a neighbor's car roars to life, snapping me out of the thought. I pull my coat tighter and head down the sidewalk, each step echoing louder than it should. The crumpled pawnshop receipt digs into my palm where I've kept it hidden inside my bag, like a thorn pressing deeper with every step. I can't resist anymore. My feet move faster, carrying me toward the address printed on that wrinkled slip of paper. Every streetlight I pass feels like it's watching me, every sound amplified, the bark of a distant dog, the crunch of gravel under my shoes, the faint whistle of the wind carrying the scent of oil and asphalt. The pawn shop sits on the corner, its windows dusty, neon sign flickering weakly in the gray daylight. My stomach churns as I push the door open, the bell above it jingling sharply, echoing too loud in the small space. The smell hits me instantly, metal polish, old wood, something stale like cigarette smoke embedded in the walls. Glass cases line the shop, filled with watches, necklaces, rings, each one with its own story of desperation. My eyes dart from piece to piece, searching, frantic. And then I see it. Under the harsh white light of the display case, my grandmother's ring glimmers faintly, the diamond catching the glow like a trapped star. My throat tightens. My knees nearly give out. It looks smaller somehow, imprisoned behind glass, stripped of its meaning, waiting for someone else's hand. A voice cuts through my haze. Looking for something? The pawnbroker, a man with thin glasses and a grease-stained shirt, peers at me over the counter. His expression is neutral, bored, but there's a flicker in his eyes like he already knows why I'm here. My mouth opens, but no words come out. I glance back at the ring, then at him. My voice finally cracks through, low and shaky. That ring, it belonged to me. He shrugs, wiping the counter with a rag. Guy came in yesterday. Said he needed quick cash. Sold it without much hesitation. My chest aches, each word slicing through me. I grip the glass until my knuckles whiten, the cold biting into my skin. And then he adds, almost carelessly, didn't look too desperate, though. Said he was taking someone on a little trip. Guess she's lucky. The air rushes out of me. My vision blurs. Someone. A trip. My hand trembles against the glass. The pawnbroker frowns at my silence, adjusting his glasses. You want it back, you'll have to buy it. That's how this works. His words echo in the stale air, but all I can hear is the roar of betrayal pounding in my ears. My grandmother's voice, my promise, my bare finger, it all collides in a storm inside me. And in that moment, staring at the cold gleam of the ring under the fluorescent light, something inside me hardens. This isn't just about loss anymore. This is about payback. I take one last look at the pawnbroker's indifferent face, at the ring trapped beneath the glass, and I turn toward the door, my chest burning. As the bell above the door jingles again and the street air floods over me, one thought sears through every nerve in my body: if he could sell my past so easily, I'll take the one thing he values most and make him watch it vanish. The words "guess she's lucky" won't stop echoing in my head as I stand frozen on the sidewalk outside the pawn shop, the gray sky pressing down heavy. My stomach twists, bile rising in my throat. He didn't sell the ring to save us. He sold it to spoil someone else. Another woman. My hands shake so badly I can hardly grip the strap of my bag. Cars hiss past on the wet street, their tires spraying water against the curb. I barely hear them. All I see is her, faceless, nameless, wrapped in whatever lie he told her while wearing the watch my ring bought. My teeth sink into my lips so hard I taste blood, copper sharp and bitter. I stumble down the street, my breath coming fast, chest aching. The city feels louder than usual, horns blaring, conversations blending into a mess of voices I can't focus on. The smell of fried food from a nearby cart hits me, greasy and heavy, making me nauseous. I find myself gripping the pawn shop receipt in my pocket like it's a weapon, the crumpled paper cutting into my palm. By the time I reach the corner, my legs feel weak, like I might collapse. I duck into the doorway of a closed shop, pressing my back against the cool glass. My reflection stares back at me, pale and hollow-eyed. My bare finger glints in the reflection like an accusation. I hear my phone buzz in my bag, the sound sharp and jarring. My hands fumble to pull it out. His name lights up the screen. My throat closes. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times before I finally swipe to answer, pressing it to my ear with trembling fingers. Hey, babe, his voice comes, smooth, casual, like he hasn't sold a piece of my soul. Just checking in. You at work already? The sound of his voice makes my chest tighten. I can hear the faint hum of the car engine behind him, the soft click of his turn signal. He's driving somewhere. Maybe to her. My nails dig into the phone case. Yeah, I manage, my voice cracking slightly. I'm here. Good, he says with a low chuckle. Don't stress too much today, alright? I've got something planned for us this weekend. The words stab like knives. Something planned. I almost choke on the laugh that tries to force its way up my throat. I picture him with her, booking hotel rooms, using my grandmother's ring money to buy dinners, champagne, maybe even flowers. I press my lips together so hard they go numb. Great, I whisper, because anything louder will break me. He sighs, satisfied. That's my girl. Gotta go, love you. The line clicks dead before I can respond. The phone feels like it weighs 100 pounds in my hand. I want to throw it into the gutter, watch it shatter, but I slide it back into my bag instead, my fingers numb. I can't go home yet. I can't look at him. I need air, space, something to ground me before I explode. I walk without direction, the city blurring around me, until I find myself at the park near our house. The trees are bare, their skeletal branches scratching against the gray sky. A child's laughter drifts from the playground, too distant, too light for the heaviness inside me. I sit on a cold metal bench, my hands pressed between my knees to stop them from shaking. The bench is slick with last night's rain, soaking through my jeans, but I don't move. I close my eyes, and memories slam into me. Him slipping the ring onto my finger when he proposed, his grin wide, his voice trembling as he promised forever. My grandmother's eyes shining with pride that night when I showed her. She kissed my forehead and whispered, "He looks at you like you're his future." Now the image twists grotesque, him leaning over someone else, whispering the same lines, that stolen money paying for the smile on her lips. My chest feels like it's cracking open. A sudden gust of wind rips through the park, carrying the smell of damp earth and cold metal from the playground equipment. I shiver, hugging myself tighter. A couple walks past holding hands, their fingers laced together, laughter spilling from their mouths. I stare at them until they disappear down the path, my throat burning with jealousy and grief. My phone buzzes again. A text this time. From him. Don't forget to pick up some wine tonight. Big night tomorrow, winky face. My stomach lurches. Tomorrow. A big night. Maybe with me, maybe with her. The wink at the end makes me want to vomit. I shove the phone back into my bag and stand abruptly, the bench scraping against the pavement. My legs move before my brain can catch up. I head home, my jaw set, each step pounding with the same thought, I need proof. I need to see it for myself. When I push open the front door, the smell of his cologne hits me immediately, clinging to the air like a warning. The living room is dim, the blinds half closed, shadows stretching across the floor. His shoes are by the door, his jacket draped on the couch. He's home. I freeze, pulse thundering. Then I hear it, the faint rush of water upstairs. The shower. The house feels too small, the walls pressing in. My eyes dart to the counter where his phone sits charging, the screen dark. My heart slams against my ribs. Every instinct screams at me not to, but my feet move anyway. I snatch the phone, my hands trembling as I swipe up, and to my surprise, it unlocks instantly. No password. No hesitation. My stomach knots as I scroll through the messages, each vibration of my thumb like a drumbeat in my ears. And there it is. A string of texts to a number not saved in his contacts. Flirty words, heart emojis, hotel reservations sent with smug little winks. A selfie of her, dark hair, bright smile, lipstick smudged just enough to look careless, intimate. The phone slips in my hand, and I nearly drop it. My chest heaves, air refusing to fill my lungs. My eyes blur, but I force myself to keep scrolling, each line of text carving deeper into me. Can't wait to see you again. She has no clue. I clap a hand over my mouth to keep from crying out. The sound of the shower upstairs roars louder, water pounding against tile, covering the sound of my shallow, ragged breathing. I set the phone back exactly where I found it, my fingers trembling so badly it almost falls. My reflection in the black screen looks warped, broken. I step back, clutching the edge of the counter to steady myself. The water shuts off upstairs. My heart leaps into my throat. I scramble to the couch, sinking into the cushions, grabbing a magazine off the coffee table to pretend I've been reading. My hands shake so badly the pages crinkle loudly. A moment later, he appears at the top of the stairs, a towel slung around his neck, steam curling behind him. He grins when he sees me, that same easy smile that once felt like safety. Now it feels like poison. "Hey, didn't hear you come in," he says, rubbing his hair dry. The smell of his body wash drifts down the stairs, fresh, sharp, like eucalyptus. My stomach turns. I force my lips into something that might look like a smile. My voice wavers. "Yeah, I just got here." He strides into the kitchen, humming to himself, opening the fridge. The sound of bottles clinking together fills the silence. "You didn't forget the wine, right?" he calls over his shoulder. My hands clench the magazine tighter, the paper cutting into my skin. My mind screams with all the things I could say, all the truths I could throw in his face. But instead, I swallow them down, the words burning my throat like acid. Because right now, I know something he doesn't. I know about her. I know about the ring. And I know exactly where his weakness lies, parked gleaming in the driveway. I sit there, my body rigid, watching him move casually through the kitchen, completely unaware. My lips curl into the smallest, coldest smile. And in that moment, a thought crystallizes so sharp it feels like glass in my veins. If he wants to play with fire, I'll burn down the one thing he loves most. The house feels like it's holding its breath, every shadow stretching too long, every creak of the floorboards louder than it should be. I sit frozen on the couch, the magazine trembling in my hands, pretending to read while he hums in the kitchen. But the words I saw on his phone keep slashing through my mind. She has no clue. My chest tightens until it hurts. I want to scream, to tear that smug humming right out of his throat. Instead, I stay still, my heart thundering so loud I'm sure he'll hear it over the fridge door slamming shut. He pops open a soda with a sharp hiss, the sound cutting through the silence. The scent of lime and sugar fills the room as he takes a long sip. "Tomorrow's gonna be perfect," he mutters, almost to himself, grinning at nothing. I stare at the back of his head, at the damp curls clinging to his neck, and I imagine the same smile directed at her, not me. My hand tightens around the magazine until the glossy paper bends and cracks. Tomorrow. Whatever he's planning, it isn't for me. That realization hits harder than anything else. The betrayal isn't just past tense. It's happening right now, unfolding while I sit here pretending. He turns suddenly, catching my gaze. "What?" he asks, raising a brow. I force a laugh, my throat raw. "Nothing." The smile creeps back onto his face. He strolls closer, the scent of his body wash sharp and overwhelming, eucalyptus and mint. He leans down, kisses the top of my head casually, like he hasn't gutted me from the inside out. I flinch, but he doesn't notice. Or maybe he doesn't care. As he disappears up the stairs, whistling again, I'm left alone in the dim light of the living room. The ticking clock on the wall feels deafening. My skin prickles with rage, the walls pressing in like they're daring me to move. I stand abruptly, the magazine slipping from my lap to the floor with a muted slap. My hands are shaking, but not from fear anymore. From clarity. I stride into the kitchen, the smell of his soda still lingering in the air, and grab his phone again. The screen lights up instantly, no password blocking me. My thumb scrolls faster than my brain can keep up. And then I see it, an email confirmation. A hotel reservation under her name. Tomorrow night. A king suite, champagne package. My blood runs ice cold. My knees nearly buckle, and I grip the counter to steady myself. My vision blurs, rage and humiliation crashing over me in waves. He used my grandmother's ring money to buy her champagne. To lie in some hotel bed while I sat at home with nothing but silence. The sound of the stairs creaking makes me shove the phone back onto the counter. I spin around, pretending to fidget with a dish towel just as he steps into the doorway. "Everything okay?" he asks, his eyes narrowing slightly. My heart pounds, but I manage a shaky smile. "Yeah. Just cleaning up." He studies me for a moment, then shrugs, grabbing his keys from the hook by the door. "I've got some errands. Don't wait up." The keys jingle, sharp and metallic, echoing in my ears. He slips out the door, and the sound of his beloved car's engine roars to life. I press my palms flat on the counter, staring down at the dull reflection of my face in the polished granite. My whole body vibrates with rage. That car. He treats it like a shrine. He hand washes it every weekend, polishes the leather seats, whispers curses at anyone who parks too close. He wouldn't let me eat French fries inside it once because he said the smell would linger forever. And suddenly, it clicks. That's where it hurts. Not in his heart, because maybe he doesn't have one anymore. Not in his promises, because those are already ashes. But in that car, his one untouchable treasure. The front door clicks again, faint this time. He forgot something. My stomach lurches as his footsteps echo back inside. I scramble to sit at the table, flipping open the fallen magazine, pretending to read an article about home decor. He walks past, grabbing his wallet from the counter. His eyes flick to me briefly, and for a second, I swear suspicion flares there. Then it's gone. He heads out again, the door slamming shut harder this time. I let out a shaky breath, my whole body sagging against the chair. My hands grip the pages of the magazine so tight they tear. I don't care. The smell of his cologne still hangs in the air, heavy and suffocating. I grab the nearest candle, strike a match. The sulfur smell mixes with the lavender wax as the flame flickers to life. I watch it dance, hypnotized, imagining flames licking across his pristine car seats. The thought sends a thrill through me, dangerous, exhilarating. But I shake it away just as quickly. Fire would be too obvious, too final. No, I need something cleaner, sharper. Something he won't see coming until it's too late. I slip outside onto the porch. The evening air is sharp, tinged with gasoline and cut grass. His car sits in the driveway, glimmering even under the dull gray sky. I step closer, running my hand along the cool metal of the hood. My reflection stares back at me in the glossy paint, warped and twisted. For a moment, I imagine dragging my keys across the surface, carving his betrayal into the paint. My fingers twitch. But I pull back, my breath ragged. Not yet. This has to count. This has to break him the way he's broken me. A sudden sound, the crunch of tires on gravel, snaps me out of my thoughts. I whip around, heart pounding. It's just a neighbor pulling into their driveway, but my pulse doesn't slow. My body is coiled tight, ready to spring. I retreat inside, slamming the door shut and leaning against it, chest heaving. The house smells faintly of lavender now, but it doesn't calm me. Nothing will, not until I've taken something from him. I pace the living room, every step echoing on the hardwood. The wedding photo still lies face down on the dresser, and I leave it that way. I can't bear to look at our fake smiles. Upstairs, I hear the faint creak of the bed as he returns. His footsteps are slow, heavy, like he's already sinking into sleep. I clench my fists, the anger boiling over. How dare he sleep peacefully while I burn from the inside out? I creep up the stairs, careful to avoid the squeaky step near the middle. The hallway smells faintly of detergent and his cologne, and I hate it. I push open the bedroom door just a crack. He's already sprawled across the bed, one arm flung over his head, snoring softly. On the nightstand, his car keys glint under the lamplight, perfectly in reach. My breath catches, chest tight. I stare at them, my mind racing. If I take them now, if I move quietly enough, I could have his car gone before he even realizes. The thought sends a shiver down my spine, part fear, part exhilaration. But then he stirs, turning over, and I freeze. His eyes flutter open just for a moment, hazy with sleep. My heart stops. He squints at me in the dark. "Everything okay?" he mumbles, his voice thick. I force a smile, stepping back into the hallway shadow. "Yeah. Just checking the window." He grunts, already sinking back into sleep. His breathing evens out, soft and steady. I stand there, the faint glow from the lamp casting a halo around the keys. My hands twitch at my sides. Every nerve in my body screams at me to grab them, to run, to make him pay. But I don't move. Not yet. Because I know the timing has to be perfect. And tomorrow night, while he thinks he's sneaking off to his champagne-soaked fantasy, I'll be ready. I turn slowly, retreating down the hall, my footsteps silent on the carpet. My hands are trembling, but my lips curl into a cold smile. Because the plan is already forming, sharp and precise, and he has no idea what's coming. The morning light cuts across the bedroom like a blade, too sharp, too bright. I lie there on the edge of the mattress, staring at the ceiling while his snores vibrate through the air. Every breath he takes feels like an insult. He's wrapped in the blanket we bought together last Christmas, cocooned in comfort, while my body hums with rage that keeps me awake. The smell of his aftershave lingers, cloying, mixing with the faint aroma of burnt coffee drifting from the kitchen. My stomach turns. I can't stay in this bed another second. I slip out quietly, my bare feet pressing against the cool hardwood floor, every step careful, silent. Downstairs, the living room is still dim, but the curtains leak pale sunlight. The wedding photo is still face down. My eyes dart to it automatically, then away again. I don't want to see our smiles. Instead, I focus on the sound of the refrigerator humming, the clock ticking, the world mocking me with its normalcy. I know today isn't normal. Today is the day he thinks he's slipping away to that hotel suite. And today is the day I take everything from him. My pulse quickens as I rehearse the plan in my head, the keys, the car, the quiet revenge. But something gnaws at me. If I make this too simple, too clean, he'll move on. He'll shrug, buy another car, and never feel the sting. No. I need him to watch it unravel, to choke on the shock of it. The thought sends a shiver down my spine, equal parts fear and excitement. My hands clench into fists, then release. My breath comes out shaky. I need to move. I head back upstairs, the boards creaking softly beneath my weight. He's still sprawled across the bed, one arm dangling off the side. The keys glint on the nightstand again, mocking me. I hover by the doorway, listening to his uneven breathing. I step forward, slow, each movement deliberate. My hand hovers above the keys. The metal is cool when I finally grab them, their faint jingle echoing in my ears like thunder. I freeze, breath caught in my throat, waiting for him to stir. But he doesn't. His snores deepen, almost comically loud. Relief floods me as I back away, clutching the keys tight in my palm. The teeth dig into my skin, sharp, grounding. Downstairs again, I slip them into my pocket, the weight solid, reassuring. The sound of birds outside filters in through the thin glass panes. The day looks so ordinary from the window, sunlight on dewy grass, a neighbor's dog barking, but inside me, everything crackles with dangerous energy. I know what I have to do. I call a rideshare. The voice on the phone is cheerful, ordinary, and it grates on my nerves. I keep my answers clipped, my tone steady. When the car pulls up outside, the low rumble of its engine sets my teeth on edge. I step out, glancing back at the house. He's still asleep. The curtains in the bedroom hang heavy, unmoving. The ride feels endless, every stoplight a cruel delay. The driver chatters about the weather, about gas prices, and I nod absently, my thoughts consumed by the plan. The keys feel heavy in my pocket, their weight a constant reminder. Finally, we pull up to the dealership. The smell of rubber, oil, and new leather hits me the second I step out. The lot glitters with polished cars, rows of chrome and glass gleaming in the sunlight. For a moment, my breath hitches. This place is his temple, his obsession. He spent weekends here just browsing, touching, dreaming. And now I'm here to gut him where it hurts most. I walk inside. The air smells like coffee and faint air freshener, a chemical clean sweetness. Salesmen in crisp shirts hover, smiles too wide, eyes sharp with calculation. Looking to trade in, one of them asks, stepping toward me with a grin. I force a small, nervous smile, the kind I imagine any wife might give. Yeah. My husband's car. He asked me to handle it. The man's eyes flicker with interest. What are we working with? I dangle the keys between my fingers, letting the light catch on the metal. His grin widens. Nice. Let's take a look. We walk out to the car together. The salesman whistles low when he sees it, running his hand along the paint. Clean ride. You'll get a good number for this. I nod, but inside, bile rises in my throat. He loves this car like it's alive, like it's a part of him. And soon, it'll belong to someone else. Paperwork follows, so much paperwork. The salesman chatters through it all, his pen scratching on the forms, the smell of ink and paper thick in the air. My hands tremble slightly, but I steady them. Every signature feels like a nail in his coffin. Then comes the twist, the salesman leans in, lowering his voice. Actually, you could probably get more at auction. Fast cash. I know someone. I blink at him, thrown. Auction? Yeah, he says, sliding me a card. Same-day deal. No questions asked. My heart pounds. It's risky, fast, reckless. But isn't that what I want? To rip it away so suddenly, so brutally, he'll never see it coming? I take the card. The name means nothing to me, but the phone number glints under the fluorescent light. My hand tightens around it. I'll think about it, I murmur. On the ride back, the keys feel heavier, sharper in my pocket. I keep replaying the salesman's words, fast cash, no questions asked. The thought of the car disappearing into some faceless auction, gone forever, sparks a dark thrill in me. Back home, the house is quiet. He's still asleep upstairs. The air smells faintly of coffee grounds left too long in the pot. I set the card on the counter, staring at it, my reflection warped in the glossy surface. Then I hear the creak of the stairs. His footsteps. My body stiffens, panic rushing through me. I shove the card under a stack of mail just as he walks in, rubbing his eyes. You're up early, he mutters, his voice groggy. Couldn't sleep, I reply, forcing a smile. He yawns, scratches his chest, then eyes me carefully. You okay? My throat tightens. Does he know? Did he hear? I force a laugh, shaking my head. Yeah. Just restless. He shrugs, heading for the fridge. The smell of cold leftovers wafts out as he rummages. He doesn't look at me again. But my heart is still pounding, my hands trembling. The card burns under the pile of mail, its presence a secret I can't let him see. As he cracks open another soda, the hiss filling the silence, I make up my mind. Tonight, while he's gone to that hotel, I'll make the call. I'll sell his car out from under him, erase the thing he loves most in one clean move. And he'll come home expecting champagne and silk sheets, only to find nothing but the wreckage of what he thought was untouchable. The image fills me with a cold, steady satisfaction. But it's not enough. Not yet. Because a voice in the back of my head whispers, he has to feel it. He has to watch it slip away. And that means I might not just sell it quietly. I might make sure he sees the moment his precious car is driven away. The thought makes my skin prickle, my breath quicken. But then he turns, holding his soda, his eyes locking on mine. What are you smiling about? I freeze, the smile slipping off my face instantly. My mind races, my pulse pounding in my ears. And I realize, I've been caught in my own satisfaction too soon. His question slices through the room sharper than glass. What are you smiling about? The air feels heavy, as though it's pressing against my chest. I swallow hard, my mouth dry, the faint metallic tang of nerves rising at the back of my throat. The soda can hisses faintly in his hand, that tiny fizzing sound louder than it should be. Nothing, I say too quickly, my voice brittle. Just a thought. His eyes narrow, studying me. He takes a slow sip, the sound of liquid sloshing filling the silence. The faint scent of carbonation mixes with the leftover coffee bitterness in the air. His gaze lingers a moment too long before he shrugs and turns back toward the fridge. My heart doesn't slow. I know I slipped. I know he caught something. His suspicion sits in the room like smoke, invisible but suffocating. I move toward the sink, pretending to rinse a cup, the lukewarm water splashing against porcelain. My hands shake as I set the glass down. He crunches on something, cold chicken from the container, and the smell of it makes my stomach twist. Restless, huh, he says between bites. His tone is casual, but the weight beneath it makes my skin crawl. Yeah, I answer softly. My throat feels tight. He doesn't press further, but that silence is worse. He knows. He always knows when something shifts in me. The rest of the morning drags. Every movement, every glance feels like a test. He scrolls on his phone at the table, the faint buzz of notifications filling the room. I pretend to clean, my mind racing. The card under the stack of mail burns like a live wire, hidden yet screaming at me. By noon, he disappears upstairs to shower. The faint hiss of water through the pipes gives me space, but not relief. My hands tremble as I pull the card free from the mail pile. The glossy surface reflects the light, that number staring up at me like a dare. I dial with shaking fingers. The phone rings once, twice, then a gruff voice answers. You got something to move? My throat goes dry. Yes, I whisper. A car. The voice chuckles low. What kind? I glance up the stairs, listening for the water. Still running. I press the phone tighter to my ear. Foreign. Clean. Keys in my hand. There's a pause. Then, good. Cash deal. Meet me tonight. 8 o'clock. Old train yard, east side. You know it? I hesitate, my chest tightening. The train yard, rusted tracks, broken glass, weeds sprouting through concrete. A place where things go to disappear. Yes, I breathe. Bring the car. Don't be late. The line clicks dead. I stand frozen, the silence of the house suddenly oppressive. The card shakes in my hand, sweat dampening the edges. My reflection in the microwave door looks pale, hollow-eyed, unfamiliar. The shower stops upstairs. Panic spikes, and I shove the card back under the mail just as he steps out, hair dripping, towel slung around his shoulders. His scent hits me, soap, steam, the faint musk of his cologne, and I want to choke. Who was that on the phone? He asks casually, rubbing his hair dry. The question stabs me. My chest tightens. He must have heard the call. Wrong number, I mutter, forcing a smile. They hung up. He watches me for a beat too long, his lips pressed tight, then turns toward the stairs. Figures. People never know how to dial right anymore. Relief surges, but it's thin, fragile. He's not convinced. I can feel it in the way he moves, slower, deliberate. Like a predator circling. The day crawls. Every tick of the clock rattles in my skull. He drifts through the house, whistling tunelessly, tapping his fingers against the table, each sound a needle under my skin. By evening, he's dressed sharp, too sharp. His cologne is strong, suffocating, thick in the air as he buttons his shirt. My stomach knots. I know where he's going. Don't wait up, he says lightly, slipping on his watch. His smirk is faint, but I catch it. I force a smile, my nails biting into my palms. Have fun. The front door closes with a solid thud. His car sits gleaming in the driveway, waiting for me. My pulse roars in my ears as I grab the keys from the counter. The metal is slick with sweat in my hand as I slide into the driver's seat. The leather grips me, cold against my back. The engine roars alive with a vibration that rattles through my bones. For a second, I imagine his face when he comes back and finds it gone. Headlights cut the dark as I drive toward the east side. The smell of gasoline lingers faintly in the vents. The city blurs by in streaks of neon and shadow. My grip tightens on the wheel, knuckles pale. The train yard looms, rusted fences and sagging gates, the air thick with the scent of oil and iron. The crunch of gravel under the tires echoes in the emptiness. A figure waits by the tracks, half shadowed by the flickering light of a broken street lamp. He's broad, a heavy jacket hanging off his frame. His cigarette glows, ember bright in the dark. I pull up slowly, the engine purring like a beast. My chest tightens with each beat of my heart. "You're early," he says, his voice gravelly. Smoke curls from his lips. "Just wanted to get it over with," I reply, my voice low, uneven. He smirks, stepping closer. His boots crunch on gravel. "Smart. Let's see it." I step out, the cold air biting at my skin. The smell of rust and damp earth fills my nose. He circles the car slowly, eyes sharp, calculating. "Nice," he mutters. "Clean ride. No dents, no scratches." He pauses at the hood, then looks at me. "Husbands?" My blood goes cold. "What?" He smirks again, teeth flashing in the dim light. "Cars like this, it's always the husbands. Women don't hand over toys this expensive unless there's a story." My throat tightens. I force my jaw steady. "Do you want it or not?" His laugh echoes through the yard, low and mocking. "Relax. I'll take it." Cash is in the trunk of my car. He jerks his chin toward a dark SUV parked under the shadows. I nod, but unease twists my gut. The SUV's windows are tinted black, impossible to see inside. As he walks toward it, the sound of his boots sharp on concrete, my stomach knots tighter. The air feels colder suddenly, heavy, as though the night itself is holding its breath. He opens the trunk. I lean forward, trying to glimpse the money. But instead of stacks of cash, I see movement. A glint of metal. Another figure steps out of the shadows. Then another. Their faces hidden, their footsteps deliberate. The faint smell of cigarette smoke thickens in the air. My heart slams against my ribs. This isn't a deal. This is something else entirely. And I realize, too late, that I'd just driven myself straight into a trap. The glint of metal freezes my breath in my chest. Guns. Not money. The sound of boots crunching gravel grows louder, multiplied, surrounding me. The sharp scent of oil and rust mixes with the acrid sting of cigarette smoke, making my throat burn. My pulse thunders in my ears, drowning out everything else. "Looks like you brought us a gift," the man with the cigarette drawls, flicking ash to the ground. His smirk cuts through the dim light like a blade. "Pretty thing like you, driving in all quiet. Almost too easy." I back toward the car instinctively, the keys still clenched in my fist so tight the grooves cut into my skin. My breath comes shallow, each inhale a shiver of cold air that tastes like metal. "Wait," I manage, my voice breaking. "This was supposed to be a deal, Cash, that's what you said." Laughter erupts from one of the shadows, harsh and jagged. Another man steps closer, his face half hidden beneath a hood. "Cash, yeah. But the real payment's him, isn't it?" He jerks his head toward the car. The name I've been avoiding spills from his lips like poison. "My husband's." It hits me like a slap. My stomach lurches, bile rising. "They know. They've known from the start." What do you mean?" I whisper, though my voice shakes, betraying me. The cigarette man smirks wider. "You think he doesn't know? You think you're the only one he's been lying to?" The words slam into me harder than the threat of the guns. My world spins. The sour tang of betrayal floods my mouth. One of the men circles behind me, his breath hot and sour near my ear. He sends you here, we take the car, maybe more. He clears his slate. Simple math. No. No, he didn't, my mind screams, but deep inside, I know he did. Every late night. Every smirk. Every missing dollar. It wasn't me being clever. It was me walking straight into his plan. The edges of my vision blur. My grip tightens around the keys. The car behind me hums faintly, engine still warm, its metallic scent like salvation. I force myself to stand taller, though my knees quake. You want the car? My voice is steady now, thin steel threading through the fear. Take it. I toss the keys forward. They clatter against the gravel, the sound sharp and final. All eyes follow the glint of silver. In that instant, I move. I lunge sideways, shoving past the man nearest me. He curses, his hand clawing at my arm, but adrenaline rips me free. The taste of copper fills my mouth where I've bitten my tongue. My hands scrape raw against rusted metal as I slam into the chain-link fence. Shots explode behind me, deafening cracks that rip the night apart. Sparks flash as bullets strike steel. The acrid stench of gunpowder fills the air, stinging my nose. I scramble, fingers clawing at the fence, the cold metal biting into my skin. My breath rasps in my ears, raw and desperate. I throw myself over the top, landing hard on the other side, gravel cutting into my palms and knees. Pain flares, sharp and hot, but I keep moving. My legs burn as I run, lungs searing with every gulp of air. Behind me, shouts erupt, boots pounding, the clatter of pursuit chasing me through the broken yard. I stumble through weeds and rusted tracks, the shadows swallowing me whole. My body screams for rest, but the terror propels me. Every step is survival. Finally, the dim glow of a road appears ahead. Headlights sweep across the cracked asphalt, a car passing too fast, oblivious. I wave my arms wildly, my throat tearing as I scream. The car speeds past. My chest collapses with despair, the roar of the engine fading into silence. Another set of headlights approaches. Slower this time. My legs nearly give out as I stagger forward, waving again, sobbing now. The car slows. The driver's face is obscured in shadow. The window rolls down with an agonizing hum. And there he is. My husband. His smirk gleams in the glow of the dashboard, casual, cruel, as though he's been waiting for this exact moment. His cologne, even faint from the open window, hits me like a choking wave. Get in, he says softly, too softly. The calmness in his voice is worse than the shouting behind me. The night spins. The betrayal, the setup, the guns, all of it clicks into place with sickening clarity. My knees tremble, gravel crunching beneath my shoes as I take one step toward the car. The shouts behind me grow louder. They're coming. Fast. I look at him, his smirk, his hand tapping the wheel impatiently. And I know. If I step into that car, I will never step out again. But if I don't. The headlights behind me flare brighter. The shadows close in. My chest heaves as I make my choice. And I run. Straight past him. His shout follows me, furious, sharp, cutting through the night. Tires screech as he slams the car into gear. Gravel spits behind the wheels. The men chasing me roar louder, closer. The world becomes chaos, headlights, shouts, gunfire splitting the air. My heart pounds so violently I feel it in my teeth. And as the first bullet whizzes past my ear, close enough to singe the air, I realize this isn't just about escape anymore. This is war.